Hi community of awesome, I'm Ava J and this is Bookish Pixie. So last week I continued my how to edit series with the second draft, which means this week we're moving on to the critique partner trade. Critique partners, which are often shortened to CPs, are really important for writers. I've already written some posts about why they're important, so I'm not going to get into that, but I will link to those below. The first step of the critique partner trade is to find critique partners. Now the whole process of finding critique partners honestly could be a vlog on its own, and I've already written about it, so I'll link to that below, but the fast version is this. The long and short answer of how to find critique partners is social media. Unsurprisingly, I have found a lot of my critique partners through Twitter. The way to find critique partners on Twitter is really self-explanatory. You honestly just connect with the writing community already on Twitter. I absolutely recommend the writing community on Twitter. They are fantastic and also full of people who would be great critique partners. Another source is the Tumblr blog, How About We CP. The How About We CP Tumblr is run by literary agent Jessica Sinsheimer. I actually don't know how to pronounce her name, so that's kind of embarrassing. Anyway, the way How About We CP works is there are a bunch of profiles that people have submitted, and they're all people who are looking for critique partners. The profiles have all sorts of information like who they are, how to contact them, what genres they like to write in, what kind of critique partner they are, and a little bit about them. You can scroll through the Tumblr and see if there's anyone you think you might be compatible with, and even submit your own profile if you'd like. There are other places where you can find critique partners too, but for the sake of brevity, I'm going to skip them, and if you're interested, you can check out the blog post I wrote below. Once you've found a potential critique partner, it's time to do a trial run. Generally in a trial run, you'll trade either a few pages or a chapter. The critique partner relationship is very much about getting critiqued, but it's also about critiquing someone else's work, which really helps you as a writer as well. While you're doing your trial run, you want to ask yourself a couple questions. While you're reading, the first thing you want to think about is, do I like this manuscript? This is important because you're going to be critiquing their whole manuscript if the relationship works out. But it's going to be much more difficult and unpleasant for you if you don't like the writing at all. So make sure when you're considering a critique partner that you like their work just as much as they like yours. Another thing you want to ask yourself is whether or not your manuscripts are about equal length. It's okay if yours is a little longer or a little shorter, but if you have a 60,000 word manuscript and they have a 120,000 word manuscript, that's not really equal. If you're okay with doing twice the work, I mean, that's up to you, but generally I advise trying to find someone with a manuscript whose length is somewhere around yours. Another thing you want to be asking yourself is whether the time expectations are okay. You should decide right at the beginning how long you expect to take on their work and how long you would like them to take on yours. Depending on the person and how busy they are, this can vary from a week to a month or even more for some relationships. It's up to you guys, but you want to make sure that you're happy with that. Finally, and most importantly, is their feedback helpful? Now you want to be honest with yourself about this. It can be really hard to accept critique, especially at first. Some writers' first instinct is to immediately discount anything negative about their manuscript, and you cannot do that while you're getting critiqued. On the other hand, you might trade with someone who has absolutely no critique for you. Comments like, "This is great" everywhere are nice, but if they don't actually have a critique, they're not going to help you improve. What you're looking for is a balanced critique. You want someone who can tell you what you're doing right and also show you how you can improve things that are not so good. Say everything works out, fantastic, you now have a new critique partner, it's time to trade your full manuscript. How you do it is up to you. Sometimes critique partners like to trade in parts or chapter by chapter. Sometimes they like to do the whole thing at once. Again, it's up to you two to decide. Now let's fast forward to when you have your manuscript back and they have their manuscript. The best advice I can give you when you have a critique is to read everything and then put it away. I don't mean forever or even for a very long time, just enough so that you can really process what you've read. Critiques can be really hard to swallow, and I find that sometimes if I get a critique that I'm having a little bit of trouble with, the best thing for me to do is just read through it, put it away, take a breath, and look at it again the next day. From there, it's time to repeat what you did before and make a whole new list of edits you need to make and dive right back into it. This is a process you're going to be doing again and again and again. Even after you've traded with your critique partners and made it as good as it can be, if you sign with an agent, chances are you might be editing with them again. And then furthermore, if your agent then sells your book, you're definitely going to be doing it again with your editor. The revision process honestly doesn't really end until the book is basically published. That's just a fact of life for writers. Honestly, I find that the more you do it, the more rewarding it becomes. So that's all I got for today. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to subscribe and comment, and I'll see you guys next week.